Some regard Oberstdorf as the German capital of winter sport. Well, I hope I didn't make enemies in other towns. What's a host without an actual practitioner of sports? This time, it's Colin Phillips, and
at least I can support my home country in this way.
The RTL Mixed Cup for the top skiers qualification. The longest distance as yet here in Oberstdorf was performed by the Norwegian Roar Jørgensen. He landed at 223 meters. Colin, have you ever made more than 200 meters?
Not yet, unfortunately. Shall I give it a try now, Mark?
I think you should. Let's take... This is not the kind of weather we order. Or is it, Colin?
Well, you can say that again. I even think it's irresponsible to start the competition with that heavy rain, you know?
That was a long jump. Great performance. There are not many rivals who are capable of such a distance, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was outstanding.
Thanks to... In the 19th century, many ski jumpers starred in circuses to earn a living.
Maybe that's why it all still seems to be like a circus to me.
The result is better than anything I have ever seen before. So he makes a great stride forward and leaves a good number of rivals behind him. Where did this performance come from?
Well, I suppose it's due to his continual training, which gives him the self...
His performance is regular as clockwork this season. He's always in the top groups. His practice seems to pay off.
Absolutely. He wouldn't let anyone pass him now, but on the other hand, he's not yet good enough to make the decisive step towards becoming number one.
You know what? I really prefer this type of skier. He's never satisfied with what he's attained, but he always tries to get a little better.
Yeah, that's true, Mike. He gets better with every competition. He almost scares me a little.
So, this is the result of the first round. So what could be done to make ski jumping more popular in England?
Well, maybe we should just serve some good beer during the competition.
Right. Well, sometimes you can get root beer.
Oh, I don't know.
That's a pretty good score for him. I think I would have judged this fight similarly. He didn't make any mistakes, and that's what the judges thought as well.
Yeah, I think they did it right there.
The replay. It's a kind of jinx. Over the past few days, his form has slipped away. He has to be careful not to slide down the rankings. His timing at takeoff was especially awful. Fat chance of a good distance there. Life is full of surprises, and here's an example. He flies down the hill as if he never wanted to land again. That's crazy. How did he do this, Colin? We wouldn't have called him a top skier before this day, would we?
No, not really. As yet, his best distances were far.
The slight breeze from behind shouldn't put anyone off.
No, if you want to be a pro, you have to cope with it. Otherwise, you're in the wrong place.
Oh, that's easier said than done. Great approach run, don't you think, Colin?
Yes, it could be better. He's standing perfectly on his skis. If there were style points given for the approach run, he'd get maximum score here, Mark.
Yeah, but he also had some luck with the wax mixture. He chose the right pot for these snow conditions.
And he's going down fast.
The last Slovene World Cup winner was Primož Peterka at the end of the 90s. So it's high time a Slovene makes it to the top again, isn't it?
Yeah, this one might make it, Mark. Let's hope he's got the right wax mixture.
Takeoff and flight were almost perfect, so consequently, he flies very far. And the public is enthusiastic. Great performance. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations for that.
Let's have a look at the replay. At the first ski jumping competition in 1893, which did not take place in Norway, but in Austria, a manure heap was used as a ski jump.
Oh, wow. God, that must have smelt really good. Fortunately, some things have changed in architecture.
Yeah. You could use this approach in a video to teach the youngsters perfect posture. Thus, literally get catapulted out of his shoes on the line. He might make a good stuntman in the movies, but he has no hope of a top position in ski jumping. Let's have a look at the overall ranking after this fascinating competition.
Yes.
The winners' fans are cheery, but the skiers on the second and third place can be satisfied too with their performance today, I think.
Me too.
And thanks to all the others who made today such an enjoyable day. So, see you next time. Mark Rafferty and the British ski jumping star Colin Phillips say goodbye to you now.
Ah, well, next time I prefer to be up there on the ski jump myself,
Yes.
Mark.
Looking forward to it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. In Kusamo, there's only one inhabitant per 3.5 square kilometers, so there's enough space for all kinds of winter sports. Colin Phillips, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the big names in British ski jumping.
I would have liked to start myself, but it wasn't meant to.
And this is another event. If we don't see any good jumps today, it won't be because of the weather. But of course, we expect the skiers to turn in some good performances.
Oh, well, I'll be expecting them to.
I think the judges will have to give a maximum score. The landing was simply impeccable. Many jumpers will have looked at that with envy. That's exactly how anyone would like to end his flight.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Ski jumping developed from downhill at the end of the 18th century. The inhabitants of a small town in the province of Norway called Telemark probably got bored by always just racing straight down into the valley, so they started to jump over small elevations. At least that's the story spun by the sport historians about the origins of the sport.
Really?
Suppose. The wind is almost perfect, isn't it, Colin?
Well, yes, that slight upwind might help gain some meters. Couple of meters, maybe.
It's not that easy to find the right wax mixture today, but he got the optimum. There you can see what difference it makes in terms of speed.
But only if the pasture is right.
But it does, 100%, man. Now we get the chance to analyze all. Great season for him. His performance is consistently good or even very good, and that's reflected in the ranking. He'll keep his place in the top 10. No way he's going to be pushed out.
No, I don't see that either.
Today he's consolidated his performance with another good jump.
Excellent.
Let's have another. We separate the grain from the chaff, so the fine saying goes.
Or the boys from the men.
Something like that. We weed out 20 skiers and start the lap. Great humble bucks with the beautiful weather today. Ready for the soaring flight of the bumblebees.
I don't quite get it.
I think this is worth. The pressure is enormous, but if he doesn't get a rank at the very top, his dream of victory this season is as good as over. He seems strained, tired, and done for these days.
But when he sees the public here, he'll put everything he has into it. I still think he's capable of a good performance.
Colin, what do you say about this one?
Great, absolutely great. There's not much he can improve on. It was really very good. He put down the skis at the right moment. And what's more important still, Mark, he did an impeccable turnout landing. The judges will appreciate that, I'm sure.
I suppose. At first, ski jumping was a sport for amateurs. Commercialization only started in the 70s. From then on, the competitions were shown on TV so that people all over the world could watch them. It was about the same period that the number of professional jumpers increased significantly. Now we get the chance. Now there's a Slovene sitting on the start bar. In a few seconds he'll be on the inline. But before that he has to check his bindings again to make sure he won't lose his skis on takeoff. These things happen. Colin, have you ever seen a takeoff as perfect as this one?
Rare. Very rare. I have to admit it. He did a great job, yeah?
Now, who did he surprise more today, Colin? Us or himself?
Well, himself, I think, Mark. He virtually boosted his performance. I don't believe anyone would have thought him capable of such an improvement. At least of all him. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the final results for your information. I'd be glad to have you with us again next time. And many thanks to my co-commentator, Colin Phillips.
Well, thanks to you too, Mark. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time. Let's enjoy the view for a moment. Today, we are in Garmisch, as you might have guessed. Today, I have Colin Phillips at my side, who will give us first-hand information about ski jumping. Hi there.
I'm happy to be here too. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Another competition of the qualification can be tricky. Now there's a Slovene sitting on the start line. In a few seconds he'll be on the inline. But before that he has to check his bindings again to make sure he won't lose his skis when taking. These things happen. Wow, excellent landing there. Telemark, the skis touched down flatly, not edged over. That's what the judges want to see. And the public too, of course. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
I think this is what... It's exactly the weather we hoped for. Not a single cloud in the sky and a slight upwind. That's ski jumping deluxe, ladies and gentlemen. That was a perfect performance today. Colin, don't you get a little envious when you see this?
Well, you want me to be truthful, don't you?
Yes.
No, actually, I'm happy for him. Believe me, I know how it feels to look up at the scoreboard and to see such a...
At the beginning, the posture was much more important in ski jumping than the distance.
No wonder. If you look at old pictures, the skiers are as straight as a ramrod, and they thrash their arms around like mad. I wouldn't call this aesthetic.
No. Going downhill with this jump.
Good pun there, Mark, but seriously, his last jump was much better.
That's what I mean. It's inexplicable that he's fallen so far behind. Would you tell us what the private Colin Phillips does in his leisure time? Maybe he grows roses or plays football?
Roses? Football? Well, I like football, but no, none of them, Mark. You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
No, come on.
I love computer games.
No!
Yes, I do. It's great for relaxation, especially before competitions.
The replay will show us now how on... He told me before the competition that he had... The field of skiers is on the decrease. Only the best 30 athletes will come back for the decisive... Must be hard for you not to start today and in such great weather.
Well, in my heart of hearts, I admit I'm not pleased to see the skiers out there.
I hear you. A good distance there. He leaves some opponents behind him with that performance. Let's have a look at the replay. If you look at his last performances, he had better think hard about his career. They bore no comparison to his top performances over the last few months. Nothing worked out right. And now, look at the ranking. He's in free fall.
Well, maybe he can stop his fall today, though, Mark. Let's just wait and see.
Now, that looked like a decent landing. You can do better, but at least there was no danger of fall or anything. I suppose that's okay for him.
Yeah, he'll like that one, I think.
Thanks to technology, we can... Recently, he seems to be so tense. He's simply unable to keep cool enough to turn in top performances. Maybe he thought he could simply pull good distances out of the hat. But it didn't work out.
No, it didn't work out this time.
The hard work in training paid off. His posture is perfect, and the skis are fast as hell. That's a dream result. First, the excellent performance, and then a top score. Amazing!
Oh, I fully agree with you. That was magic.
Let's have a closer look. The windsock indicates a slight upwind, so the weather conditions are near to perfect for good distances. Textbook table. Best conditions for a very, very long jump. Great.
Fantastic.
Here's the final ranking for you, ladies and gentlemen. After a thrilling competition, next time all skiers have the chance to go for gold. Until then, I say cheerio and adios to my co-commentator, Colin Phillips.
Well, thanks very much there, Mark. It was a pleasure being here, really. I've had great fun. Maybe not quite as much as being one of the jumpers myself, but maybe next time. See you soon. Bye now. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye. Today, we're on the lookout for nice jumps and records in stumps. Today, I have expert help on my side, the famous ski jumper Colin Phillips from England.
It's a great pleasure to me, my friends.
Today is the final... He's the winning type. He's rightly at the top of the ranking. While others are unsettled by bad conditions such as lack of wind or poor visibility, he just goes for it and makes incredible distances. Well, he certainly isn't a talent like Janne Ahonen or Jakob Janda yet, but he turned in a solid performance. That's good ski jumping, don't you think?
Yes, Mark, and the judges think so too by the look of it. So with the distance he achieved,
For all those who are not yet experts in ski jumping, I'd like to explain the point about hill size again. In the early days, the ski jumps were giving a so-called K-point, which means critical or calculation point. But as this point doesn't tell much about the actual size of the ski jump, the term hill size was introduced in 2004. But the distance points are still calculated in comparison to the K-point.
I could listen to you for hours, Mark.
Thank you, Colin.
You're welcome.
I think that... Can I risk another little pun?
No, and no again?
You may have a humorous and funny bone, but what about a sense of humor?
Oh my God, any more of that, I'm out of here. I've had it.
Let's take the time to look at the replay. He's one of the skiers who pleasantly surprised the expert this season. He always lived up to their expectations, and he didn't have a single fall this season.
Yeah, last year was quite a different story. Now he's become a really good skier.
The good flight is only of use to him if the judges appreciate it too, and that's what they do. A good performance, justly judged.
Okay, I fully agree with that, Mark.
I suppose we can have a look at the replay. Colin, the big hill of Innsbruck is only 30 kilometers away. Do you enjoy being in stumps nevertheless?
Oh, of course I do. I don't get on with the mats as well as with the snow, but it's still a lot of fun.
Colin, what do you say about the distance?
Well, I think that was a decent distance. That's good. Not very good, but good.
The light snow won't harm the skiers, and we're happy about the fantastic atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing there. The athletes won't even notice those few snowflakes.
No. Now that's how it's supposed to look.
Yep.
Calm posture, no fidgeting, no arm movement, and his chest bent far over his skis. No problem with the skis either. The wax is superb. His speed at takeoff will be amazing.
Well, it should be.
The last Slovene World Cup winner was Primož Peterka at the end of the 90s. So it's high time as Slovene makes it to the top again, isn't it?
This one might make it, Mark. Let's hope he's got the right wax mixture.
A sigh of relief from his coach. A problem-free landing that should convince the judges. The score must be good. Otherwise, I'd be astonished.
Yeah, so would I.
Let's have a... Yet another remark about the so-called hill size. The specification is calculated at that point of the outrun where there is still a 32% gradient. It's mostly a little less than the jury distance.
I couldn't explain it any better.
I suppose he'll mark this day in his calendar, Colin. He doesn't get such a score every day.
Actually, he virtually never does, Mark. But today, he deserves it, really. No doubt about that.
Let's have a look at the replay. These are the results of today's competition, ladies and gentlemen. The three winners of the day, cheered by the crowd. Next time, things can turn out quite differently. We hope you'll be with us again. Mark Rafferty
And Colin Phillips.
take their leave.
Au revoir, goodbye, and auf Wiedersehen.
Goodbye. Hello from Liberec, where, as you certainly know, the Nordic Skiing World Championships will take place in 2009. I'm sure that not only fans of the British team will be happy to hear that my coach...
Next time I'll be competing again, that's for sure.
Let's look forward. What's going on down there? I can't see anything.
Listen, I'll go and have a look. You won't believe me.
What's up?
A cow wandered onto the ice skates.
That's unbelievable. Is it true? Perfect. You couldn't do better. But such an excellent performance had to be awarded with the appropriate score. I really don't know how he could improve on it.
Be careful, Mark. In ski jumping, everything is possible.
If you say it. Now there's a Slovene sitting on the start bar. In a few seconds he'll be on the inrun. But before that he has to check his bindings again to make sure he won't lose his skis on takeoff. These things happen. A textbook telemark. Everything was correct, from timing to parallel ski position. The spectators are enthusiastic, and rightly so. I think he can be sure to earn a great deal of praise from his coach.
Yeah, he should do.
Thanks to... Bohemia's biggest skiing paradise is not, as you might think, Spindelmühle or Hartwell. No, it's Leverage. That's how it's supposed to look. Yep. Calm posture, no fidgeting, no arm movement, and his chest bent far over his skis. No problem with his skis either. The wax is superb. His speed at takeoff will be amazing.
Well, it should be.
Now we get... To me, he's one of the great surprises of the season. I wouldn't have expected to see him in the top 10.
No, me neither, Mark, but it's those shooting stars who make this sport interesting.
Let's take the time. This should be a day for some record distances. With this strong upwind.
Yeah, the wind is absolutely perfect today.
Yeah, let's see. That was an okay landing there. I've seen many a jumper who would have been happy to end their flight like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And of course, there's always one or two things you can improve. That goes without saying. I think... Oh no! No one would have imagined such a decline. A few weeks ago, he was close to victory, and now he's falling down the rankings. How come, Colin?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he trained to. He seems drained to me.
Yeah. Well, I, for my own part, would be happy to come down the jump without being hurt. But how about you, Colin? Would you be satisfied with his score?
Well, Mark, I'd have to be after a jump like that. But with all due modesty, I have somewhat greater ambitions than that. Do forgive me.
This is a crunch day for him today. His recent performances have been unconvincing.
To say the least.
So, mini crisis or no mini crisis, it's time for him to pull himself together. Otherwise, he won't end up with a place on the victory poster. Maybe he had dreamt of a better distance when he sat up there on the start bar, but I think this was a decent performance.
Yeah, it was very good to look at.
Yeah. I suppose we can have a look at the replay. Ah, there. The area around Woodbridge has some impressive buildings, such as the Friedland Castle.
That was an extraordinarily smooth landing. No shakiness, no swaying. He'll get an excellent score, unless the judges are blind. Thanks to technology. So, this is an overview of the final ranking, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an exciting competition today, and that's how we like it. We'll see you next time. It's goodbye from Mark Rafferty.
And from me, Colin Phillips, thanks and goodbye.
Bye.
We welcome you to the ski jumping in Engelberg, Switzerland, from one of the biggest and most beautiful natural hills in the world. The first competition in Engelberg was held back in 1904. I have a special guest today, Colin Phillips. Would you...
Seeing all that.
Another World Cup in the qualification. What do you think, Colin? Can he win the competition?
Yes, if he does another of those outstanding performances, there's virtually no one to beat him. He's in excellent shape. Of course, he's self-confident enough in his own performance. I'm sure we'll hear from him when it comes to the title fight.
That was an okay jump for him, considering his potential. But compared to the top skiers, he still has some work to do.
But I'm sure he'll make it, Mark.
Yeah. By the way, it was in the United States that the first ski jump with an elevated jump table was built back in 1912. But not in Park City, it was in Steamboat Springs. And the man responsible for it was, of course...
American?
No, a Norwegian, of course. His name was Carl Hovelsson.
Good old Carl.
What can you say about a score like that? We've seen an amazing jump, and that's what the judges thought too. This is a dream score.
That's what I like to see.
Let's... In case you didn't know, Erika Hess, the outstanding slalom skier of the 80s, comes from here. But today we want to see the ski jumper, of course.
Yeah, I remember Erika, but we do want to see the ski jumper.
Yeah. Let's have another look at the replay. He's one of the skiers who pleasantly surprised the expert this season. He always lived up to their expectations, and he didn't have a single fall this season.
Yeah, last year was quite a different story. Now he's become a really good skier.
The hard work in training paid off. His posture is perfect, and the skis are fast as hell. Now we get the chance to analyze all the jumps. After the competition, it's me who must fly. I have a date.
Oh, give me a break. You never stop those puns, do you?
There's not much to grumble at. A good score for his jump, but still capable of improvement.
Yeah, you can do a lot better than that.
Let's have a... It's only since the middle of the 19th century that the skiers have landed on the slope.
They must have scorched their feet back there, but they had to land completely on the flat.
I don't want to exaggerate, but this score is close to a sensation. He exceeds all expectations.
Yeah, fantastic. Sensational.
The replay will show us now. The last Slovene World Cup winner was Primož Peterka at the end of the 90s. So it's high time a Slovene makes it to the top again, isn't it?
Yeah, this one might make it, Mark. Let's hope he's got the right wax mixture.
Great approach run, don't you think, Colin?
Yes, it couldn't be better. He's standing perfectly on these skis. If there were style points given for the approach run, he'd get maximum score here, Mark.
Yeah, but he also had some luck with the wax mixture. He chose the right pot for these snow conditions.
And he's going down fast.
Engelberg is a paradise for off-piste and cross-country skiers.
That's a bit risky, though.
Unfortunately, it is, because people don't always respect the safety instructions.
No, that's the problem.
He seems to have studied all the textbooks about ski jumping and learned them by heart. Well, at least the chapter about landing, that was perfect, wasn't it, Colin?
Yes, yes, indeed. That was great. I didn't see the slightest mistake there.
I think this is what... These are the results of today's competition, ladies and gentlemen. The three winners of the day, cheered by the crowd. Next time, things can turn out quite differently. We hope you'll be with us again. Mark Rafferty
And Colin Phillips.
take their leave of you.
Au revoir, goodbye, and auf Wiedersehen.
Goodbye. Today we're stopping over at Lake Vesijärvi, in the Finnish town of Lahti, to be precise.
What's the lake called?
Vesijärvi.
Oh my god.
I have called
It's a very different experience watching the other.
next round of the 40. The most important thing. Lahti is said to be the Finnish capital of sports.
Look, there's a big brewery too, if I may add that.
The skiers need to be supplied for their après ski. Considering his abilities, that was a reasonable performance. Good work.
Good work.
Thanks to technology. Maybe we should talk about women in ski jumping too.
Oh,
As
yes.
in many other sports, the ladies hardly manage to emerge from the men's shadow.
Well,
I wonder why. Because they also achieve impressive distances. The actual record is held by the Austrian Daniela Rashko, with 200 meters. That was a good jump. Not a very good one. And the score reflects that. I think the judges made a wise decision. Let's have... He's one of the outstanding jumpers this season, and he's rightly at the top. His form peaks at the right moment. Many of his colleagues could still learn from him. He's a pro, absolutely concentrated in training and competition. The winning type. Great jump, great score. Today everything worked out for him, and the judges understood that his performance was outstanding today. In consequence, he gets an excellent score.
Yeah, that was a good result, that.
Let's... I know, I'm repeating myself, but it's simply magnificent. This panorama with the 3 ski jumps.
Ah, yeah.
His performance today is not a surprise. It's neither better nor worse than the last time. He's just plugging along on the same level.
Chugging, even.
Let's have a look at the... It started snowing, but visibility is still excellent. That looks as if he had never done anything else in his life than taking off. Great timing. His skis take off precisely at the right point, and he's got the right degree of explosivity. I think we've seen some nice, and what's more, long jumps. And if the ski jumps were really roofed over, as certain experts are proposing, competitions would no longer be cancelled because of bad weather conditions.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it would be an enormous investment for the operators. And I think it would be harmful to the atmosphere. Don't you have coach down the tunnel? No, thank you.
Well, that's a score to electrify the whole competition. I'm sure his rivals are awestruck now. This performance with this score, it will be hard to top.
Yeah, that was top notch.
Now we get the chance to analyze all the jumps. The last Slovene World Cup winner was Primož Peterka at the end of the 90s. So it's high time a Slovene makes it to the top again, isn't it?
Yeah, this one might make it, Mark. Let's hope he's got the right wax mixture.
It's not that easy to find the right wax mixture today, but he got the optimum. There you can see the difference it makes in terms of speed.
But only if the posture is right.
But it does, 100%. Visitors can take the elevator up to the ski jump center. Have you ever done that, Colin?
Well, that would make me a little bit too nostalgic. If I go up a ski jump, I have to jump down too.
That was a long jump. So far that probably no one would have thought him capable of it. To me, at least, this is a big surprise, especially considering his previous performances.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Let's... An English tabloid spread the news that you're afraid of flying.
Who said that? No, that's a fairy tale. That's a malicious allegation, actually.
So it's not true.
Well, the thing is, when I was a kid, I was afraid of heights. So my father took me to a ski jump and said, if you jump down there, you'll never have to be afraid of anything.
And that was the beginning of your career.
That's right.
Now we get the chance to... Let's have a look at the overall ranking after this fascinating competition.
Yes.
The winners' fans are cheering. Hello from beautiful Innsbruck.
Yes, you can feel history everywhere in this town.
I'm sure that not only fans of the British team will be happy to hear that my co-commentator today is Colin Phillips.
It's a very different experience watching the others.
This is the last qualification can be tricky. What are the particularities of this jump, Colin?
Well, the in-run is very, very short, so it's extremely difficult to find the right point for takeoff.
Well, that's good for the maximum score. At least that's my opinion. Let's see if the judges agree with me.
Well, I reckon so, Mark. By the way, have you ever tried to make a jump yourself?
No. Why?
Well, it would be nice if you, as a reporter, knew exactly what you were talking about, don't you think?
So, do you have a favorite ski jump, Colin?
No, I couldn't say that. Every hill has its advantages. Of course, I'm always happy to start at home in England, but I also like visiting foreign countries.
Successful landing. Time to take a breath. We'll see what the judges think about flight and landing. Well, I'd say at least the landing was useful.
Yeah, it looks okay to me.
Let's have a look. The fog is so thick that you can't see where you're going. I feel sorry for every single skier who has to start now.
Yeah, me too.
His takeoff training seems to have paid off. No problems on the jump tape. Not too early, not too late. That was perfect.
Yeah, that was great.
I think this is worth having a second. I wouldn't want to be up there in such rotten weather. No. The rain makes it really hard to see. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the skiers all make a safe landing. That was a perfect takeoff.
Absolutely, Mark. To find a precise point for takeoff and then lift up powerfully, that's an art. And he's got a complete command of it, no doubt about that.
I suppose we... A strong upwind. It couldn't be better.
Well, you know, I think this is the day for some very good distances.
Yeah, Colin. That's what we're all hoping for.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, the top skiers will make a better distance than that, but with this performance, he's certainly not among the worst athletes in this competition. Thanks to technology. What's wrong with the Russians? They once were very successful, but now...
Well, after the decline of the USSR, many ski jumps went to rack and ruin. There was no money, and more often than not, there was no will to keep on with this sport. Yeah, I think so too. But we're in a small ski jumping community. Happy about every rival who owns his career.
His performance went like clockwork, absolutely perfect. And then he gets this dream score from the judges. Now, I can't wait to see who's the first one he'll smother with kisses down there. Or if he can temper his enthusiasm. That was sense. The weather's a catastrophe today. Let's hope there won't be any jumpers on the hill. Would you have thought that he's good enough already for such a performance, Colin?
No, actually not, Mark. But in ski jumping, there's always a bit of good luck that might add to your abilities. And that's what he had to do.
Ah, this is weird, Colin. So far, he always was in the top 3, and now, suddenly, these poor performances.
Well, maybe he put himself under too much pressure. Or his coach is too demanding. But he's still clinging to the top. But for how long?
That's how the takeoff has to be. An explosive extension of the body at the right point on the jump table, and then an intensely powerful takeoff.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Let's have a... So, this is an overview of the final ranking, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an exciting competition today, and that's how we like it. So see you next time. It's goodbye from Mark Rafferty.
And from me, Colin Phillips, thanks and goodbye.
Bye. Hello from the capital of Norway, the center of Nordic skiing. Hello from the Holmenkollen in Oslo. Today I have expert help on my side, the famous ski jumper Colin Phillips from...
I would have liked to start myself, but it wasn't meant to be.
The amateurs already proved. Now there's a Slovene sitting on the start line. In a few seconds he'll be on the inline. But before that he has to check his bindings again to make sure he won't lose his skis on takeoff. These things happen. I always wonder how a human being on skis can jump that far from the ski jump. He did a very good performance today, Colin.
Yeah, there's nothing to be ashamed of in that jump. There's almost no match for him, and, well, I'm not in the competition today.
Unfortunately, heaven seems to have opened its floodgates. Not easy for the skiers to cope with these weather conditions.
Now it's raining cats and dogs.
Let's have a closer look. This is a pea super now. These weather conditions might get dangerous for the skiers. You could use his approach run in a video to teach the youngsters perfect posture, thus a minimal air resistance, and it looks very fast. The first real in-run tower for the ski jump in Oslo was built in 1914. It was called the Tower of Babylon and only lasted until 1927.
This is formidable.
Yeah, then it collapsed the day after the competition. The new tower wasn't, of course, the only renovation that was made of the jump. We're having 14 renovations altogether. The last time was in 1992 for its 100th birthday.
Wow, I think they'll be holding a new one then soon.
This is it. Wow, that was an exciting competition today, don't you think, Colin?
Yeah, well, now we can take a deep breath and look forward to the...
There's a slight tailwind that might rattle the skiers a little bit. But it could be much worse.
Yeah, I've seen it worse.
Now, who did he surprise more today, Colin? Us or himself?
Well, himself, I think, Mark. He virtually boosted his performance. I don't believe anyone would have thought him capable of such an improvement. At least of all him. Congrats.
Tell us your recipe for success, Colin.
Well, if you ask me, a jump is an extraordinary filigree system. The slightest imprecision and you're out. So the thing is to avoid any mistakes.
Okay, and how do you do that?
Well, first, it has to become automatic. That means practice, practice, practice. Secondly, you need concentration. That means mental strength. That's the crucial point, in fact.
Up 1 minute, down the next. Typical of him. He almost made it to the very top, and then came the decline. There's every chance he'll drop out of the top 10. What's his problem, Colin?
Well, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell him. He's my rival, Mark. No, to be honest, this is not only about his form on the day. Maybe he's got some private problems too, hasn't he?
Thanks to technology, we can look at the replay and be... I would like to ask you something, Colin. For many people, ski jumping is totally serious, but at the same time, it's a big show and should be fun above all.
Show? Listen, ski jumping virtually belongs to the arts. It demands absolute seriousness and devotion to the sport.
Well, I had a caller who made a joke about UFOs flying over the job. He was bombed with hate
I
mail.
can imagine, because it's inappropriate to make fun of sports.
Okay, I didn't say that. I always find it odd that today's ski jumping heroes are here today but gone tomorrow, fallen into oblivion.
Literally.
Seriously, what do you think is the reason for this?
Well, as I said, ski jumping is a question of psychology above all. And it's even metaphysical, since there's probably no other sport that on the surface as important as a ski jumping.
This is a crunch day for him today. His recent performances have been unconvincing.
To say the least.
So mini crisis or no mini crisis, it's time for him to pull himself together. Otherwise, he won't end up with a place on the Olympics. Let's have... At the very beginning of Oslo ski jumping history, the in-run consisted of branches that were covered with snow.
Sounds weird.
Yeah, it's also impossible to believe that the Crown Prince Haakon would make a jump nowadays. But his grandfather did. In 1922 and 23, the future king and then Crown Prince Olaf took part in the competition.
Oh, you certainly know your history, then, right?
Yeah, I do. Let's have a close... Ladies and gentlemen, here are the final results for your information. I'd be glad to have you with us again next time. And many thanks to my co-commentator, Colin Phillips.
Oh, thanks to you too, Mark. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time. Today, we're on the shores of the River Po in Piedmont. Welcome to Turin. What's a host without an actual practitioner of sport? This time, it's Colin Phillips.
It's a great pleasure to me, my friends.
Have you been sad? No one can use the wind as an excuse today. We have a strong upwind, so the weather conditions are excellent. Great landing. His many fans out there on the screens will be rejoicing.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. That looked really good. Excellent landing. You know, putting the skis parallel is an art in itself, and he managed it perfectly.
I think this is... Have you ever considered a career in another discipline?
Yeah, I really did.
Which one?
Curling.
You're kidding.
No, always going up those towers is tiring. I sometimes wish I could stand on firm ground during the competition.
You're really kidding.
Chip found it out.
Let's take... What would you tell someone to convince him about this sport?
Well, that's a difficult one. I'd say that ski jumping is not a sport, it's an art, or a philosophy, or a religion.
That's laying it on a bit thick, isn't it?
Just make a jump yourself, 200 metres down the valley. That'll change your mind, Mark.
The replay will... Great season for him. His performance is consistently good or even very good. And that's reflected in the ranking. He'll keep his place in the top 10. No way he's going to be pushed out.
No, I don't see that.
I don't want to exaggerate, but this score is close to a sensation. He exceeds all expectations.
Yeah, fantastic. Sensational.
Now we get the chance to end. Last year, Turin hosted an Olympic Winter Games, and the athletes fought for gold, silver, and bronze. Well, Turin is not quite accurate. The ski jumps are in Pergelato, 85 kilometers away from Turin. You see, ladies and gentlemen, a good jump is awarded with a good distance. This certainly wasn't a top performance yet, but he has the potential for improvement.
He certainly has.
Let's have... this is weird, Colin. So far, he always was in the top 3, and now, suddenly, these poor performances.
Well, maybe he put himself under too much pressure, or his coach is too demanding. But he's still clean to the top. But for how long?
I suppose we can have a look at the replay. The upwind might give wings to the skiers today. I can assure you that we'll see some good distances, and I wouldn't be surprised if the record was beaten. I suppose he is surprised himself about his performance and the score. We're not used to such heights in his career. He's one of the positive entries today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised.
I suppose... The pressure is enormous. But if he doesn't get a rank at the very top, his dream of victory this season is as good as over. He seems strained, tired, and done for this race.
But when he sees the public, he'll put everything he has into it. I still think he's capable of a good performance, Mark.
Let's have a closer look. Here's the final ranking for you, ladies and gentlemen. After a thrilling competition, next time all skiers have the chance to go for gold. Until then, I say cheerio and adios to my co-commentator, Colin Phillips.
Well, thanks very much there, Mark. It was a pleasure being here, really. I've had great fun. Maybe not quite as much as being one of the jumpers myself, but maybe next time. See you soon. Bye now. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye. Falun, Sweden, this town of 55,000 inhabitants, is host to today's ski jumping event. Nice to have you with us. Hello. Colin Phillips, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the big...
I'm happy to be here too. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
On we go with the amateurs who are competing for the World Cup today. There's a thick fog over the ski jump. I suppose you're not sad that you're not starting today, are you, Colin?
No, Mark, you say that again. It's no fun skiing in such conditions, you know.
A good distance there. He'll lose some opponents behind him with that performance. Now, we have talked about this several times. Ski jumping is a sport full of imponderables, even mysteries.
Well, that makes it so interesting. You can never be sure what will happen. A psychological problem for us athletes. One moment, you're at the top, the next, you're down.
It's in the nature of it, isn't it?
So to speak.
Let's have another look. It's raining cats and dogs now. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
Oh, that's every skier's nightmare up there.
And it's pretty dangerous too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't grudge him a really excellent performance for once, but he's simply not yet at that point, it seems. So the score is justified at this time, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd never disagree with an expert like you, Mark. No, seriously.
His performance is regular as clockwork this season. He's always in the top group. His practice seems to pay off.
Absolutely. He wouldn't let anyone pass him now, but on the other hand, he's not yet good enough to make the decisive step towards becoming number one.
Let's have a look at the replay. Falun has a... Recently, he seems to be so tense. He's simply unable to keep cool enough to turn in top performances. Maybe he thought he could simply pull good distances out of the hat, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out this time. Colin, do you have any idea how he can get into the top group next time?
Yes, he absolutely needs to improve his posture, there's no doubt about that. He can only fly far if his body offers enough surface for the air to carry him. But that wasn't the case in this one.
You know, let's talk again about the sudden drop in performance in ski jumping.
Okay, let's look at the German Sven Hannawald, for example.
Yeah, right. It's so strange what's been happening with him.
Yeah, just look at Janne Ahonen. In the 2002-2003 season, no one would have bet a single penny on him. And then he suddenly emerged at the World Cup and won the four-hill tournament, and the whole world was stupefied.
Do you think that Sven is still capable of something like that?
Well, I'm convinced he is, my friend.
I think... Now tell us, Colin, why aren't you entering any important competitions this year?
Well, actually, it's a little embarrassing. For the reason is my right ankle's injured.
So what's embarrassing about that? Did it happen in training?
No, that's the point. I recently bought a house in the south of England, you know, and the site is on a bit of a slope.
So you practiced the right posture to take up and then...
No, Mark. I was mowing the lawn.
I don't get it.
Yeah, so, listen, while I'm mowing, I see a stag, and I can't simply mow it over, so I put the lawnmower... Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is pretty dangerous, starting with a fog as thick as this, Mark.
All you can say is eyes shut and go for it.
I suppose you're right.
Perfect landing with a nice telemark. Could you explain to our spectators what's important in the telemark, Colin?
Well, that's easy. A telemark is a thrusting step with the skis. The rear leg is bent down lower than the front leg. So it's a kind of curtsy.
To the public?
No, to the gods of...
Let's have a look at the overall ranking after this fascinating competition.
Yes.
The winners' fans are cheering, but the skiers on the second and third place can be satisfied too with their performance today, I think.
Me too.
And thanks to all the others who made today such an enjoyable day. Welcome in Harachov, which literally means village of Harach, on the edge of the giant mountains. I have a special guest today, Colin Phillips. Would you mind me saying that it's a strong...
At least I can support my home country in this way.
Next round. We're in the giant mountains close to the Polish border. It's not that easy to find the right wax mixer today, but he got the upgrade. There you can see what difference it makes in terms of speed.
But only if the posture is right.
But it does, 100%. The replay... The V-style technique was introduced at the end of the 80s by the Swedish skier Jan Vokalov. Soon the entire world adopted it.
Good ideas catch on fast.
Yeah, at first he had a lot of points deducted at every jump because of his incorrect posture. The result is better than anything I have ever seen before, so he makes a great stride forward and leaves a good number of rivals behind him. Where did this performance come from?
Well, I suppose it's due to his continual training, which gives him the self-confidence.
A record weather for record distances. These are perfect conditions for a good flight. Let's see if the skiers can make use of it. Now that's how it's supposed to look.
Yep.
Calm posture, no fidgeting, no arm movement, and his chest went far over his skis. No problem with his skis either. The wax is superb. His speed at takeoff will be amazing.
Well, it should be.
Now there's a Slovene sitting on the start bar. In a few seconds he'll be on the in-run. But before that he has to check his bindings again to make sure he won't lose his skis on takeoff. These things happen. The slight crosswind might cause some problems today.
Yeah, but any pro will be able to adjust to a light breeze like this, Mark.
Yeah. If you look at his last performances, he had better think hard about his career. They bore no comparison to his top performances over the last few months. Nothing worked out right, and now, look at the ranking. He's in free fall.
Well, maybe he can stop his fall together, Mark. Let's just wait and see.
Thanks to... There are 5 ski jumps on this northern slope of the Ertova Hora mountain. The hard work in training paid off. His posture is perfect, and the skis are fast as hell. Would you have thought that he's good enough already for such a performance, Colin?
No, actually not, Mark. But in ski jumping, there's always a bit of good luck that might add to your abilities. And that's what he had to do.
Yeah. You talked about the jump as a filigree system, Colin. What role does the material play?
Well, naturally, it's absolutely crucial. For example, if your angle of attack is not perfect, or even the wax mixture, that can spoil your whole season.
No, not like that! The takeoff was powerful, but too late! This makes him lose the height he needs for a long distance. Well, there was no improvement to be seen today, nor was there any deterioration. Let's have a look at the... So, this is an overview of the final ranking, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an exciting competition today, and that's how we like it. We'll see you next time. It's goodbye from Mark Rafferty.
And from me, Colin Phillips, thanks and goodbye.
Bye.